Sawadee Krap, I'm JP Mestanza. It's Tuesday, 4/20. Welcome to Phuket Xtra, brought to you by PVC Phuket. Visit them on Facebook. Nearly 100,000 doses of the Chinese-made Sinovac vaccine, CoronaVac, arrived in Phuket yesterday to provide the second vaccination injection for all the people who received their first jab earlier this month. In total, 99,480 vaccines were delivered, arriving at Bashida Phuket Hospital in Phuket Town yesterday. They were later spread out to several hospitals island-wide, including in Patong Hospital, Talang, and Chalong Hospital. The vaccine doses will be used to resume the mass vaccination campaign on the island, which will resume on Thursday and continue through to the end of the month, used to provide the second vaccination injections for 90,000 members of the public, 9,000 medical personnel, and under 500 police, military, and frontline personnel, with the vaccination service centers set to reopen in Angsana Laguna Phuket Resort, Sapan Hin, Phuket Orchard Resort, Phuket International Airport, and Jungsalong Shopping Mall in Patong. The vaccination is to make sure symptoms are nowhere near as severe, and they also prevent death, but officials say everyone still needs to follow disease control measures. Vice Governor Piapong said, quote, "This vaccination will be only for the second injection. Those who want the first injection, we will open for registration on April 20th, today. For vaccination in May, we will not welcome walk-in people as we want to reduce the congestion." The mass vaccination in Phuket is to make sure the island achieves herd immunity and has about 70% of the island's population vaccinated in order to allow vaccinated foreign arrivals with no quarantine starting July 1st. This third wave of COVID-19 outbreak has threatened the timeline for this, and tourism officials are set to meet this week to discuss the timeline of the reopening for the Phuket Sandbox model. For more, visit thephuketnews.com. Starting tomorrow, April 21st, all people flying into Phuket will be subjected to an antigen rapid test for COVID-19 unless they can prove that they've been fully vaccinated or have had a test confirming they are not infected with COVID within 72 hours of arriving on the island. The new rule was announced last night by the Phuket governor and will be in effect from April 21st to the 30th. Those arriving from the red zone areas, including Bangkok and Chiang Mai, who have already completed 2 injections of a vaccine, and those who have a COVID-free certificate issued within 72 hours before arriving will be allowed to enter Phuket province. But those who do not meet these requirements will have to do an antigen rapid test at a cost of 300 baht and then wait 15 minutes for the results. The test can be done at the Phuket International Airport upon arrival. Of those arriving in Phuket by road, only arrivals from the 17 other red zone provinces are required to be tested. All arrivals must install the Mochana app and register their travel details through the www.gophuket.com web portal. In addition, they have to have their arrival and travel details reported to the Emergency Operations Center for the area where they will stay in Phuket, according to the announcement. Those who transport goods and do not stay in Phuket overnight and have a permission document are exempt from the new requirement. Meanwhile, officials in Bangkok are heeding calls by the Aviation Authority, and all domestic flights departing from 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. nightly will be prohibited starting today in a bid to rein in the third wave of COVID-19 spike in Thailand. For more, visit thephuketnews.com. The head of the Clinical Virology Center in Chulalongkorn University is warning that a booster shot against COVID-19 will likely be needed even for people who've already been vaccinated or infected prior. Yang Puvarawan, head of the Center for Excellence in Clinical Virology of Chulalongkorn University, made the comments in a Facebook post this week, citing a study into recovered patients in which it was suggested that immunity against COVID begins to decrease around 3 to 6 months after being infected, saying the effectiveness of the vaccine generally works better against diseases with long incubation periods. COVID-19 has a short incubation period of 2 to 7 days and says that booster shots could be needed to stave off COVID-19. But he admits that anyone who's gotten the vaccine or was already infected, if they do test positive for COVID later, the symptoms are much less severe. At the moment, Thailand has already inoculated about 619,000 people nationwide from late Feb to mid-April. For more, visit thephuket.news.com. Phuket Extra will be right back after this. For the best mosquito screens available in Thailand, contact PVC Phuket on Facebook today. Welcome back to Phuket Extra. The start of the new school term nationwide will go ahead on May 17th unless the COVID-19 crisis worsens, according to the Education Ministry. The Education Minister, Trinuch Tientong, poured cold water on the possibility of the date being postponed to June 1st, even though she insisted the outbreak would continue to be closely monitored. The ministry admitted, however, that the outbreak was likely to delay exams to select teacher assistants beyond May 17th, spelling out a possible shortage of teaching staff in certain areas of Thailand. Efforts are now underway to prevent the iconic James Bond Island from collapsing into Phang Nga Bay, as natural erosion threatens to bring the popular natural landmark to the sea. The Natural Resources and Environment Ministry is assembling a team to carry out a mission to save Khao Tapu and assess the risk of the karst collapsing. James Bond Island, or also known as Khao Tapu, stands 31 meters tall and has a circumference of 11 meters. Officials became increasingly aware of the impact of marine erosion in the area after several islands cracked and had large sections plunge into the waters below, including one near Phi Phi Island or on the way to Phi Phi Island. For more, visit thephuket.news.com. The ASEAN Summit is set to take place in Jakarta this week, and Thailand is sending their foreign minister, Don Pramudwitnai, after the prime minister opted to stay in the kingdom. All of the Southeast Asian nations are convening in Indonesia this week, part of ASEAN Summit, and they're expected to have high-level talks on how to deal with the deteriorating crisis in Myanmar, and the country's army chief will attend the summit. Reports say that over 700 people have been killed by the military of Myanmar in nationwide protests after the military junta took over in a coup on February 1st, overthrowing elected leader Aung San Suu Kyi, claiming fraud in those elections. Officials confirmed 4 new COVID-related deaths today. 2 of those who passed away were 78 years old, a male and a female, both Thai, and each had hypertension and other underlying conditions. Another was an 86-year-old Indian woman, and the 4th was a 30-year-old Thai man in Bangkok who was also obese. The death toll has risen now to 108. Also, 1,443 new cases were recorded in Thailand today, raising the total to 45,185 as of this broadcast. Cases in Phuket were not available today as of this recording. For more, visit thephuket.news.com. Thanks for joining us again on Phuket Extra today, brought to you by PVC Phuket. Check them out on Facebook. Join us again tomorrow. Until then, stay classy, Phuket.
Phuket's rapid modernization has made it one of the world's premier holiday destinations. Investors can still buy quality condominiums for as low as 75,000